Hey guys, it's Drac, and today we're going to be making a special Chicken Involtini recipe. You guys really had a great response to the last Drac's Kitchen episode on my main channel, so I'm going to put this one up on my main channel, and there will be a strong arm video later on in the week that I'm looking forward to throwing up as well. But to start with, these are the ingredients that you're going to need. You're going to need some chicken breasts. You're going to need the Draculina wants to make a kind of kale dish to go with this, so we're going to need kale. You're going to need Parmesan and mozzarella cheese. Toothpicks are super duper important for this, so remember those. You're going to need your favorite kind of pasta sauce. I like to use the Classico Italian sausage just because it's reasonably priced and I think that it's really good. I wish I knew how to make my own Italian style pasta sauce, but I currently do not. You're going to need garlic as well as basil and sun-dried tomato halves, and then you're going to need olives for the kale side dish and prosciutto. Now prosciutto is really hard to find, so don't go late to the grocery store. You're going to need access to the deli. You're also going to need just a smidgen of canola oil, and of course we're cooking Italiano style, which means that we will need red wine. So without any further ado, I'm going to start the prep work on the chicken. The prep work is really the only complicated part of this dish, and we'll show you as we get there. Okay guys, so you can see kind of how I've done the chicken prep work. I'm going to be making 4 pieces for this dish, which should be enough for the Draculina and I to each have one and then have some leftovers. So for starters, I came in with my knife, I removed all of the fat from the edges and the sides, and then I came in from the top down and gently cut the chicken into 2 halves, which does 2 things. 1, it thins the chicken, and 2, it lets you really get in there and remove all of the gristle and all of the fat. Now a lot of recipes, when they're telling you how to make this, they instruct you to buy chicken tenders or chicken cutlets, but it's both cheaper and you'll wind up with a better, flatter cut of meat if you make it yourself out of a boneless, skinless chicken breast, which is of course what this is. Now I'm going to turn this into 2 more of these, and then I'll show you the final kind of assembly process for
So while Drac is making the involtini, I'll be making the kale part of the dish, and he thinks it's a side dish, but it's actually the base. So we're gonna actually put it in water and gonna steam it, but it looks like we're going to boil it because there's a little too much water in there. And I've already put garlic in there, and it just kind of, you can be klutzy like me and just throw it everywhere. But all of it just kind of goes in the water, and you might burn yourself, but that's okay.
Hey guys, so I'm starting by making my filling for my involtini, and there are a lot of store-bought garlic paste things that you can make, but nothing really compares to making it yourself. So I have some garlic cloves that the Draculina just kind of trimmed down for me and shucked. And I'm going to put them in my presser, or my extruder, however you want to look at it. And currently in my bowl, all I have is a little bit of margarine. I'm going to extrude this fresh garlic into this little bowl. I'm going to get super messy while doing it, but that's alright. And I definitely want to get all 3 cloves in here since it adds a ton of flavor. I'm sure this is going to be easily the most tedious segment, but I kind of want to start to finish it because it's so important to the dish. So at this point, I feel like I've extruded about as much as I'm going to get. You can see that I've already started laying out my prosciutto, but I'm also going to mix a pretty healthy amount of Parmesan cheese in here with my margarine garlic paste. And then I'm going to, I think I'm going to need a little bit more cheese than that, mix in my basil leaves. And make sure that all of this gets blended pretty well. And this will be part of my stuffing for the involtini. And you're kind of looking for this sticky, tacky sort of paste, which is exactly what we've got now. So I've laid out one slice of prosciutto. You can see that it's thinly sliced prosciutto. Then I'm going to come over, I'm going to grab one of my pieces of chicken breast and I'm going to lay that on top. I'm trying to kind of mirror it as best I can. And then once I've done that, I'm going to take this and just extrude it into the center. I'm trying to tease it closer to the end because that's where ultimately I'm going to go. It looks like I'm going to have to make a good deal more paste because this will only cover one or two involtini. Then after you've done that, you're going to want to come in and grab a pretty healthy amount of your mozzarella cheese because it's the softer cheese. Place that on top. And you can see that it's spilling off the edges, but that's not really an issue. Then I'm going to come in, these are sun-dried tomato halves and olive oil. I'm going to fish out one of those, splay it out, lay it on top. And now the big trick is to roll it about as tightly as you can. I'm going to slide this one to roll it. And once you've more or less rolled it, you have this almost like bacon wrapped, but it's not bacon, it's prosciutto wrapped chicken. And then you want to make sure you take your toothpicks and you seal it so that when you cook it, it stays complete and together. So there's my edge right there. I'm going to go ahead and lance it there. Then I'm going to lance it on the other side. And so that's how I prep my involtini. I'm going to make 3 more of these and then I'll show you how to cook them.
So the kale has been done for a little bit now, and Drac has prepared the
Involtini.
And I've just kind of set the kale aside, so it has basically turned into a mush, but not quite. And we're gonna drain it so we don't have all of this excess water. But it still keeps all of its flavoring because of the garlic. And because we can, we're going to add olives and make it super awesome. And then put it back in the pot because it keeps it warm. Handful of mush.
Hey guys, so you can see that my involtinis are completely prepped and ready to go. They're all wound about as tightly as I can. Some took 3 toothpicks, the first one I only did 2. But they're ready to cook, so in order to do that I'm going to take my canola oil, I'm going to add it to a pan that I've already heated. I'm going to actually up the heat on that just a smidgen. I'm going to make sure that I get my whole pan coated. And then I'm going to add these. I'm going to add them like this, and you can hear that they're already cooking. I'm going to get up my tongs so that I can rotate them, but I'm going to do this for about 2 to 3 minutes and then I'll come back and show you what we do next.
Shortly after finishing the kale, we discovered that it was way too little, so we decided to make noodles to go with it because it's an Italian dish and most Italian dishes have some kind of noodle in it. And we also decided to have tea instead of any kind of other drink that somebody might be having.
Hey guys, so at this point I'm going to reduce the heat here. You can see that the Draculina has started tea. I think that she's chosen my jasmine tea, which is pretty tasty. The kale looks done and actually smells super duper good. She's cooking some noodles, which is great because the kale, while done and smelling good, looks like about a handful of kale. Our tea is spilling over, so I'm going to move that real quick. But beside the point, I need to add There we go. I'm not adding a ton, I'm just adding a reasonable amount of our sauce because I want my involtini to cook in the sauce for another few minutes so that I can get kind of the entire flavor profile to amalgamate. But you can see that after about 3 minutes I took them off and they've all cooked and browned very nicely. The chicken is cooked throughout, which is of course the most important thing. So I'm going to go ahead and add my involtini to this sauce to cook a little bit further, and I'm going to cover it when I'm done with that. So the final segment should be the Draculina and I at our place settings, fully plated and showing the dish in its completed form. Hey guys, so this is the final plating of the involtini. I'm going to start off by trying the kale. Thank you. The kale tastes a lot like spinach, but definitely has some garlic undertones. I'm not sure what the actual difference between kale and spinach is, but it's definitely a little different in consistency. So here's my involtini. It's, I think, the one that I prepped on camera. I'm going to cut into it and see what we've got. So you can see that as we go through, the chicken is cooked throughout, which is the most important thing, and the stuffing looks great. It's a little bit thicker than the other ones, but you get the prosciutto into the chicken, into the sun-dried tomato, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half so that I can eat it. And it is just super duper flavorful, and it's really good. I would highly recommend this dish to anybody who's made like other cooking videos that I've done. It's a little bit more involved than some of the ones in the past, but I think that it's well worth the effort, and it's really, really tasty. As always, guys, thanks for watching.